As a result of that grant that I mentioned that we've just received, we're also announcing a defense contracting symposium in Eastern Kentucky to be held on October 19th at the Corbin Center in Whitley County. Successful defense contractors will be on hand to provide information about what they need in terms of suppliers and subcontractors. Here's your chance to get involved in a huge piece of America's economy, and that's the contracting for defense materials. We'll have representatives there from the Department of Defense to provide insight on how to prepare to do business with the military and their partners. We have in our area some of the best machinists in the country, many of them laid off now. We should be fueling our nation's military with the skills that the laid off coal miners in our region have. So if you're a small business owner or manufacturer, mark it down on your calendars to join us again October 19th at the Corbin Center to learn more about federal contract opportunities. Over the last few years, SOAR has helped us begin to shift the way we think about ourselves in Eastern Kentucky. And when we begin to truly believe in the ingenuity that exists here, it'll improve the way we market our region to the rest of the world. We're not just coal miners. We're not just farmers. We're all digital coders, medical experts, and aerospace engineers. I visited this week with the new president of Morehead State, Dr. Jay Morgan, and along with Bob Skena, and they're partnering together to train high school and college students for the aerospace industry. In fact, those students in Morehead are already learning about engineering, building satellites, getting offers to attend Ivy League schools. They have several satellites that they've made that are circling the Earth as we speak. And that 20-foot dish still works. Not only are they educating and training students, but they're also working with NASA to develop and launch the Cube satellites that I mentioned to you. And the best part is that students can graduate and find high-tech jobs right here at home with companies like Ragent, where they can work and invest their talents here at home. Education, workforce development are at the corner of the transformational change we're actively working for in Eastern Kentucky. And I'm terribly proud of our local institutions for leading the way. You don't have to look far to find innovative educational opportunities at every corner of our region, from the University of Pikeville to Union College, on over to the University of the Cumberlands, EKU, alongside our thriving community and technical colleges across the region. We have highly intelligent students, and we have the best workforce in the country, and we have the drive to achieve success that is out of this world. So as we continue working today, stir your imagination, open up your network, and find ways to share resources so that we can achieve great things together. Let your neighbor know what you can and can't do, and you'll find some commonality and some synergism. 1 and 1 may in fact equal 3 if we know how to do that and want to do it. Finally, let me applaud Jared Arnett. He's perfect for this job. He's a little bit wonky, savvy and smart, dedicated. He's persevering. He puts up with a lot of geeks like me, but he's doing a fantastic job, and I think we owe a lot to our founding executive director, Jared Arnett. Now it comes my great pleasure to introduce our closing speaker. This governor has adopted SOAR as his own. He believes in what you're doing, and he relishes what you're doing, believe me. This is an original booster. This is a guy that knows what he's doing and loves doing what he's doing. And he's taken on the work of rebuilding, reinventing Eastern Kentucky as a big part of his public tenure. And we can't do without this governor. We wouldn't be here without him. So let's show the governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky how much we appreciate his work helping Eastern Kentucky. Governor Bevin.
You know, when I was a boy, I grew up in, some of you know this, fairly humble circumstances, not unlike a whole lot of people in this part of the country, in this county. I grew up in a county that was 2.5 times the size of Pike County, had half as many people in it. If that gives you some appreciation. It was in the mountains. My dad had a lot of different jobs through the years. One of the jobs that my dad had was a second job that he had. He'd work all day, and at night, while we were at school, he'd be at work, and then at night, we would drive down through this little mountain pass about 45 minutes to a town smaller than this, but a town big enough to have buildings that they would pay you to clean at night. And I would go with my dad and help him clean buildings. And I would clean the ashtrays, which every office had in their offices back then, and I would empty the trash cans and things of this sort. I mention this to you simply because a little bit ago, when I was running around here and there and in between different interviews, I met a woman by the name of Amy. Hers has not been an easy life. Hers has been a life that is very much like what so many of us have come to think of as perhaps typical for people from this region of the country. It's what the outside world would think of folks from Eastern Kentucky. A hard life, a life with ups and downs, but seemingly more downs than the ups would justify. And yet, she's recently been given an opportunity to work here at this convention center. And she's been coming in every single day, grateful for the opportunity to work, grateful for the dignity that affords her the ability to provide for herself, grateful for the chance to come in and make us be able to take for granted what an extraordinary effort has gone in to making it possible for us to enjoy this place. And so I want to ask you, please, for Amy, who's been cleaning these bathrooms that we've been using in the hallways and making this place look so good, and for all the other Amy's who've hung the tapestries and put up the screens and hung these speakers and have put out these ferns, how about if you help me give them the kind of round of applause we would give to these coaches that we've been hearing from. Thank you. Thank you to all of you who made this possible. There's so much that goes into us being able to walk in here, enjoy this lineup, enjoy the amenities, and to be able to go back out of here. I hope you have been inspired. I hope you have heard something that has moved you to action, to a greater degree of action than perhaps you thought you would engage in when you first walked in here. I hope you've taken a moment to visit the people who've set up a booth here. If you've not, we're wrapping up earlier than we have in the past, and there's a chance for you to go and see these folks. Go and meet with them. They've come here, they've set up booths, they've taken their time. They have things to show you and tell you, explain to you. They have books and programs and things that they would have you to understand. Please take a few minutes before you leave this place to do exactly that, to visit these booths and talk to these people, take a card, follow up with people. There's been a lot of things on the screen. Maybe there's one even behind me now with the words all coming together, and there's a couple words that are sort of highlighted there. One of them is the word goals. The other one is leadership. What happens with goals and leadership? That's where there's the possibility for things to happen. We've heard from a number of people, local people, who've inspired us and encouraged us. Lonnie Riley, who came up here earlier and spoke. I had a chance several years ago, 3 years ago I think it was now, to go down and spend with my family several days. We were among those people who have come to Lynch, Kentucky to see the transformation. This was before I was ever a governor or involved in things political. But I will tell you this, as a person who came there with his family, who saw the ability for one man and one idea to be able to take root and to transform things, I'm grateful to you, sir. I'm grateful for what you're doing. I'm grateful to those of you with a similar heart and the other ministries and organizations and rehabilitation programs that we've heard about. These things, this is who we are. We are our brother's keeper. We are responsible for our brothers and sisters, for taking care of ourselves. It's the greatness of Eastern Kentucky, is that this is something that's innate within us as a people. It's been said that without vision, the people will perish, and it's true enough. History has proven that to be very true. It's true for a nation. It's true for a state. It's true for a business. It's true for any organization or any ministry or any endeavor. Without vision, the people will perish. So what is the vision that we have? Why are you here? I will tell you, and I've shared with you before, my vision is that Kentucky will be the engineering and manufacturing hub of excellence in the United States of America, bar none. That there will be no state, while there will be others that do it and do it well, that there will be no state that will be so synonymous in people's minds with engineering and manufacturing excellence, with harnessing the very things that speakers, including the congressman who preceded me, have talked about. There will be no state that better utilizes what it is blessed with in abundance like Kentucky. That is my vision for this state. And I know it can happen. I was asked a moment ago, I did an interview with Renee Shaw from KET. She interviewed myself and the congressman talking about what it is that the SOAR Summit means. And I was struck by something as she was interviewing in that moment, turning to the congressman, and something struck me that then I shared with her, is that I remember, how many of you, by a show of hands, came to the very first SOAR Summit? Quite a few of you. Have you noticed what has changed? One thing that has changed is that the first SOAR Summit, pretty much everybody on stage, or at least the ones that I remember, were from somewhere else. They had come here to tell us what they had done in a region kind of like this, where they had done things that were transformative for their communities. What I'm struck by is with each successive SOAR, including this one, now we have these indigenous speakers. We have people that are coming from our own ranks, people that are coming forward with their own ideas, people that have ideas. And what we also have are people who've heard about what's happening and are coming here because they want to learn from us. They want to participate in what we're doing. That is how progress happens. The vision that was laid out by Congressman Rogers, a simple vision, but it takes action. It takes a level of boldness. It takes a level of commitment. And the vision that I have for this state, for us to be that hub of excellence in engineering and manufacturing, is only possible through folks like you. And I thank you for being a part of it. And again, it doesn't happen overnight. There is no magic switch. You look at the medical center in this town. You look at the university in this town. These things did not become what they are overnight. A lot of work, a lot of cultivation, a lot of effort on the part of a lot of people. It's the same with this. These announcements that have been made, every single one of these has the possibility of being something unbelievable, or it may not. That's life. I was speaking to a reporter earlier about one endeavor that had taken place in this community where people didn't feel that it had accomplished everything that they'd hoped it would. And I said that is called life, and that some people who entered into that opportunity came out not having fulfilled what they had hoped would be their dreams, and yet others did. That is also called life. And we know this. I don't mean to be dismissive, but the reality is sometimes you put seeds in the ground and you don't reap the harvest or in the timely manner that you would have hoped that you would reap. It's interesting, I've asked people before, I don't believe at one of these summits, many of you have gardened and grown crops before. How many of you know the fastest thing you can put in the ground, if you want to put a seed in the ground and you want to eat something soon, what's one of the fastest things you can grow? Anybody? lettuce, somebody said, which is true enough, but even faster than lettuce, than leaf lettuce, radishes. But who really wants to eat a lot of radishes? Let's be honest. If you want expediency, if you want to put a seed in the ground and you want to just start eating stuff quick, you can eat a lot of radishes. But I'm telling you, most people don't want a diet of nothing but radishes. Some people want corn, they want beans, they want melons, they want things that take a little more time and care, and cultivation and weeding and thinning and waiting. And that's what we're doing. We're putting all kinds of seeds in. And some are radishes and some are cantaloupes. But the reality is, we're putting seeds in the ground. You're the people that are the local farmers. You're the people that are tending that seed. You're the people that are cultivating. You're the ones that are inspiring future generations. There's a woman here named Melissa. She probably doesn't want to be singled out, so I'll only give you her first name. But she's a small town girl. She's a local girl. She grew up here. She now works for Amazon, the company that we were just talking about a moment ago. Dreams are possible in America. The American dream is a real thing. When you have vision, you can succeed at extraordinary levels. Has she forgotten where she comes from? No, she spent last night with her dad, coming back here to her hometown. Is this where she hangs her hat every day? No. But this is where she's from. She hasn't forgotten that. These things matter to people from here, and you know it. But here's the beautiful thing. As the crop begins to grow, and as the seeds begin to germinate, and as things begin to come up, there'll be more and more to harvest. There'll be more and more things in this community that will bring people to here from other places and those that are from here to be able to stay. I grew up, as I said earlier, in a community where I moved away when I was 18. There was not an opportunity for a kid like me to come back. I've been blessed in my life. Others among you have been among those who have perhaps moved away, and you're looking to come back, to pour back. The Rileys, again, didn't expect they would come back and find themselves living in Lynch, and yet they are. Pouring back into a community and transforming people's minds, transforming people's lives, 1, 2, 10, 50 people at a time, one cookie dough ball at a time. The bottom line is a lot can be done. Coach Haywood, 417 wins, are you kidding me, in football? Seriously? That's phenomenal, phenomenal. He's written a book, I think it's called Faith, Family, and something. I've not read it. I just heard about it. And I'll tell you what, faith, I guess football would make sense. Yeah, forgive me for not. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's kind of the big F there. The 3 F words we're allowed to say from the stage here. But the faith, family, and football, I've not read it. I want to read it. Just meeting him, talking to him, his humility, his success, his ability to pour into young people. Every one of us has some ability to do something like that. I want to leave you with one final thought, and that is this. Abraham Lincoln, a famous son of Kentucky, someone who we know a lot about things that he has said, an amazing guy. He said many things that we know, but I'll tell you, very few, if any of you, have probably ever heard this quote by him. Abraham Lincoln said, "Good things may come to those who wait, but only the things left behind by those who hustle." That's a pretty awesome quote. Just the fact that Abraham Lincoln is saying hustle sounds good. I think Coach Haywood might have appreciated that. But I'll tell you what, you've heard from 2 great coaches, basketball coach and a football coach, people with a passion for pouring into young people. Do you believe that if we hustle, good things will come to Eastern Kentucky? Do you really believe it? Really? Don't humor me, but do you believe it? Because if you believe it, if you get out there and you hustle and you don't wait for things to come, I don't mean to be dismissive, and I don't mean to go off on a tangent. I'm going to say one more quick thing, and we'll wrap this up. But about 53 years ago, the then President of the United States came to this region of the country, just a little ways up the road in Martin County. And he stood on a porch, and he declared that the solution for Eastern Kentucky was other people's money. And I don't mean to be dismissive of what has come of all that, but frankly, that hasn't been the solution. Other people's money being given to you when you want opportunity and dignity and the ability to work and the ability to be employed and to be gainfully productive in your own community is not the solution. It isn't to say that we don't need it, and indeed, we've seen example after example of how the ability to deploy public resources and capital can be transformative. But I will tell you, in those 53 some odd years, I think what I am most grateful for is what we are seeing happen now, which is the realization that it's not just simply something from someone else that's going to make the difference. It's boots on the ground. It's people baking cookies. It's people putting rehab centers together. It's people growing crops in innovative ways. It's people making all sorts of investments with their blood, sweat, and tears. That's what's going to make the difference. Because the humanity that each one of us is innately created, the uniqueness within us, knows for a fact that we want to be self-reliant to the ability that we've been given. And this is what we're trying to do with SOAR. It's why it's easy for me to embrace this. Because this is the greatness of America. I've said that a couple of times. It's true enough. I want to leave you with one final thought. There was a company that was here today. They have now gone. They have other things. They're visiting other places in this community and in a different part of this state as well. They're headquartered in California. What they do is transformative. It is 21st century. It is the absolute embodiment of engineering and manufacturing excellence in the 21st century, advanced manufacturing. They're in the energy business. They're in the energy storage business. They're in the battery business specifically, where so much of what we've been hearing, so much of where things are going from a communication standpoint, from a military and defense standpoint, from a transportation standpoint, so much of the technology and the storage of energy is being changed, literally the half-life of which is remarkable. This company, which is at the cutting edge of that would be producing in America, for the first time, a technology, the vast majority of which is produced now in another country. A country that is maybe or maybe not one that we are truly well allied with. All I can say is there's a lot of geopolitical unrest in the world. And the ability to bring that kind of production to North America, specifically to America, even more specifically to Kentucky, and even more specifically to Pike County, would be an extraordinary opportunity. The amount of production of this product that this company makes, that is made by the 3, 4, 5 others in the world who make it now, there isn't even close to being the amount of production as there is for the amount of demand. The amount of demand for this product so outweighs the production that the ability for this company to be successful no matter where they go is almost instantaneously guaranteed, to the extent that they do what they need to do. And they have assembled an extraordinary people, a group of people who have had unbelievable success in this field and others. Their entire executive team was here today. They were here this morning. They were here because they wanted to get a feel on the ground. And they come from different parts of the country, although they're headquartered in California. They were impressed by what they saw, the energy, the passion, the sincerity of the people. They've been here before, some of them. It's possible some of you might have even met them and maybe knew or didn't know that they were here looking at this town. If they come to this town, they would likely have a headquarters for their company because of some of the things they do on the science side that would be in Lexington. But they would have a production facility here in Pikeville. This may not happen, but it's increasingly possible, and I would dare say even likely that it might. This is a company that would bring to this community a production facility of some of the most advanced technology and advanced manufacturing that exists in the world today, in the world of energy, where we can transform, just as SOAR is doing on so many fronts, those that have been perhaps in one industry and being able to transform them into people who are productive in producing things in another industry. They would bring 500, 600 jobs to start. These jobs would pay between $60,000 and $100,000 a year. These are good jobs. These jobs, like Brady Industries that you heard about, would be jobs that people with the work of the local college and community college system would be able to be trained for these jobs in this community. There are many, many states competing for this company. There are many, many states that they looked at. They only recently came to us, but they have been impressed by the hustle. They've been impressed by the work ethic and the attitude. I hope that a year from now, when I'm on this stage and have a chance to speak to you, that I can tell you who that company is. I hope by then you know exactly who they are. I hope by then they're breaking ground on a facility here. These are the kind of things that I work for on your behalf every single day. I'm out there hustling to the best of my ability. It's how I was raised. I'm grateful to be an American. I'm grateful to be a Kentuckian. I'm grateful to be your governor. God bless you. Thank you.